Welcome back to another episode of the Empowered Grief Journey podcast. I'm your host, Chris Mamone, and I'm the founder of the Empowered Grief Journey coaching and podcast platform. Today, we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be doing a mini podcast with one of the authors of my anthology book that's coming out on Sunday, November 23rd. This anthology book is called The Empowered Grief Journey, 23 Stories of Grief that Carved a New Path Forward. And today's author highlight is with Caitlin Parsons out of Ohio. Her chapter is number 22 in the book, and it's called Grief and Motherhood, where she shares a powerful story about losing her daughters to stillbirth. And for you guys watching today, this is going to be the copy of the book. I'm sorry it's a little blurry. Zoom's got some issues. But you guys will see this cover a little more clearly in the notes. And I just want to say it's been a really powerful experience working in this anthology, working with so many different authors from around the world and different loss and grief experiences, because I think that grief is seen through a singular lens a lot in society, and this book is going to crush that and show us that grief happens in all areas of life. So, without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to Caitlin. Caitlin, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Chris. So glad to be here with you again, of course.
Likewise, and you and I connected for podcasting a little earlier this year, and we had a lot of fun doing it.
Absolutely. I know we've both been on each other's and it's been wonderful. And again, thank you, for putting this whole project, this book together. I know I've thanked you like a million times, but I feel like that it's just not enough because your vision for this is amazing, and I'm so glad that you were able to bring it to life.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to share with the listeners. Caitlin and I have had a similar path of life that
Mhm.
we're part of a club that both of us don't want to be part of, unfortunately, but we did lose our children to stillbirth, something that's not talked about enough in society. And Caitlin's daughter, Lainey, passed away, I think, August 1st, if I remember right. Uh,
Yeah, yep.
yeah, so I want to give you guys an opportunity to hear from Caitlin. I'm going to have her share a little bit of her background and her story and her chapter in her book.
Yeah, awesome. I'm glad to be here and sharing.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your chapter that you wrote, Grief and Motherhood. You also have a podcast called that, and I think it's
Yeah.
lovely to support women that go through loss and motherhood because
Yeah.
it's something that just I don't think has enough space held for it to give the support we need to work through a loss like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And really that's where my chapter came from was my daughters, losing them. Of course, when you read my chapter, you'll hear, my story of losing the three of them, two to stillbirth, and then I had a miscarriage as well. Um, and like you said, grief and motherhood was born you know, through love and through grief and through hope, giving other moms who have gone through loss that hope, and just really wanting to help other lost parents know that they're not alone.
Yeah, I think that's really huge. And I love your story. For you guys, I'd love for you to go back through the podcast and find Caitlin's episode. She shares it in great depth, and it's a very powerful story about resilience and also going through. Caitlin's got a unique loss too, by the way. I've lost a child and don't have another child, and Caitlin was able to have other children. And so
Hmm.
I think something you and I talked about, Caitlin, a lot is that there are, in many ways, some people that have a replacement idea with children when this
Hmm.
stuff happens. And you have proven it to me that we can't replace those that we lost. There's no way to do that. We have children that we are survived by, and our goal is to give them the best life possible that we can and still honor and
Hmm.
remember the children that aren't able to be here with us.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up because, wow, I've had a lot of people tell me, since we did go on to have our other son, after Lainey. He was born exactly a year and a month after Lainey. After we lost Lainey, which is, to me, it was such a sign of a gift from Lainey. From God, from Lainey. It was, he was, meant to be here. And I've had a lot of people kind of comment like, "Oh, you're still grieving." It's like, well, yes, because Lainey and my son are not the same person, same baby. I mean, I'm going to always grieve over my daughters, but again, going back to, we always still remember them. So we still celebrate their birthdays and all the events, even though they're not here, and even though we do have August now. We still remember our daughters because, like you said, one baby does not replace another.
Well, I think I love that you're posting August and you're like me a lot. We post
Yeah.
pictures of celebrating our little children, and
Mhm.
sometimes people see from us it's a happy picture, and deep underneath that is a lot of pain and still a lot of hurt.
Oh. Mhm.
So yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I bring that up to say that, like I was glad you talked about that, are you still grieving? That's a big question that comes up in the grief community. And I sometimes when it comes to my child, I'm in that place of saying, yeah, I'm still grieving. I didn't get over it. I didn't forget
Sure.
about it. It wasn't just in a thing or an experience that happened in my life, that this was a child of mine. This was part of
Mhm.
my DNA out in the world.
Yeah.
And so I just love that lost parents like you and I still hold space for those children. And sometimes that comes in the form of making a type of memorial in our house, sometimes a
Mhm.
bookcase or a shelf, or we have areas of their pictures. And when their birthdays roll around, we make a cake for them. We celebrate them. We honor them.
Yes. Absolutely. I know you and your wife just celebrated Caden's what, third birthday? Would it have been?
His
Yeah.
third birthday.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I saw that image of the cake, the lion cake, and I love that because, they're a part of you, like you said, and I mean, you're never gonna get over it. It's your child, and, for me, I think it's just having that, being able to honor them and just little things like that, it kind of eases the pain a little bit, if and if you can just have, like, 5 minutes where you're not grieving, hey, I'll take it, right?
Exactly. Well, Kaylin, I wanted to ask you another big question here. As far as the project goes and putting your story in an anthology, and I know it's hard to sit down and write about these things because they're big emotions, they're big
Mhm.
journeys. And, I want to know from you, what was this experience like for you in the project? Did this give you a different perspective on grief or healing? Did it allow you to have some closure or open up grief that was there in the background? What kind of things did you take away from being part of this anthology?
Sure. Well, that's a great question. And let's see. So first, I want to say, wow, did it, really open up some wounds because, again, we're always going to be grieving. I'm always going to grieve for my daughters. Um, but I'm in a different stage of life right now. So it's like uh, when I started reading the book, like or my chapter rather, um, I kind of had to peel back layers of kind of reliving, if you will, the grief. It literally put me uh, right back in the hospital bed, right after delivering her and just holding her. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there was lots of tears um, through this, writing this chapter, and um, I'm not gonna lie again, rereading it after it was published, after we got our copy, wow, I'm like, "I wrote that?" I'm almost like, "Oh my gosh, like, this is" you know, I mean, "This is my story? Really?" Like, it's almost hard to believe, if that makes sense because it's like, I don't think I've been through all of this. I mean, I have, obviously, it's my story, but sometimes it just feels like it's not real, if that makes sense. Um, like, wow, I've really been through all of this. And, I mean, like you said, the resilience and just being able to share what we've all been through. And it's sometimes it's just like reading it, it's like, is this like not if this is made up story? uh it's hard to believe it's your own story, if that makes sense, because sometimes it's like, wow, it's a lot. So
Yeah, it's
um
yeah, when you go through, losing a child, it feels like a very bad nightmare that
oh
you're praying it's not a
yes.
mistake. You're praying that you can wake up and it was not going to
Mhm.
be this, and it's going to be
Yep.
just a bad thing that was up in the brain. It's gone. It's not there, but
Mhm.
reality hits and you have to live with that, and that's a very,
Yeah.
very hard thing to. And like you said, when you write it down after going through it, years
Yeah.
apart, like we have, yeah, we sit back in a deja vu kind of moment and go, God, we went through that, and we know
Yes,
nothing
that's
else.
exactly, yeah, because, I mean, you think about it every day, like, it's always in the back of your mind, and you're always, thinking, along the lines of like, oh, I miss my daughters, but you're not really, I don't know, I don't ever put myself like I did, having to really like dig deep and get those emotions to be able to put them on paper, and it like opens up all the wounds again. So,
Well,
and I'm not, I won't say it's a bad thing. I do think living, or kind of reliving that, I feel like it brings you closer to them again, if that makes sense, because you know I feel like every year that passes, I get a little farther away from her, and I hate that because I don't want to be farther away from her. I want to be closer to her. Um, but at the same time, I'm so thankful for this journey, because again, having this. Meeting all of these other authors that have gone through all of this, meeting you, with a similar story, it just really, there's a reason for it, and it really puts me, um, it puts my mind at ease a little bit, knowing that if somebody can read my chapter and feel a little bit of hope, or you know feeling like they're not alone in loss, then
that
then I think that
yeah,
we've accomplished something.
well, I couldn't agree more with you about that because, yeah, my next question was going to be to you, how do you hope to help people with your story about Lainey? Because I really do feel that
Hmm.
there's moms that are going to go through a stillbirth in our country. At least
Oh yeah,
120,000 stillbirths happen every year.
I know,
And so
it's crazy.
I can't help but think that a story like yours is going to help a mom who's going through that right here in the throes of it know that
Hmm.
it's going to be rough that first year or two or three, as you and I have experienced, but to give them hope that it doesn't always have to be that harsh emotional feeling at a certain point. It's going to transform into that honoring, remembering stage of things and
Hmm.
finding ways to incorporate that memory into our life.
Oh, absolutely. I will say, just like you said, I mean, at the beginning, you're gonna feel like it's hopeless. You're gonna feel like there's never gonna be another side of this, but I promise you there is. And you know, I guess time will heal a little bit. You're always gonna have that ache. You're always gonna, hurt, but it will ease. And so yeah, again, I hope that any mom or even dad, reading my chapter will really just know that there's going to be um, a time where you will be able to have joy and grief coexist.
That's beautifully said, because I think that's something we all struggle with in the grief community is trying to
Hmm.
understand that grief can coexist with the other emotions in our life.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
There's days,
That's hard.
yeah, there's days it's very, very hard to see that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
try to
There
tell people
are.
that's normal. That's completely
It
fine.
is. I mean, it is. I mean, if you're on a grief journey, it is. It is absolutely okay. And again, I feel like there are people too who are almost afraid to feel the joy, because I don't know, it may be guilt. Because I will say, a lot of times I have guilt with having my son, and then it's kind of like a pull for me where um, I grieve my daughter, but I'm also so grateful for my son. And so sometimes it makes me feel guilty because, he might not be here had she lived. So I have this guilt, and it's something that I have to deal with, of course. But I think again that's normal. We are grieving, and we're allowed to be grateful, and so you're allowed to feel joy. On the days where you wake up and you go outside and you smile a little bit, that's okay. It's okay to feel that. Um, so yeah, I want people to know that as well.
No, I think that's absolutely beautifully said, and I think that's what your chapter represents is that
Thank
there's
you.
there's going to be days that grief is very, very heavy, and when it comes
Hmm.
to child loss, people that haven't gone through this, I'm gonna be
Sure.
honest with you guys, don't get it, and that's okay.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
fine. But to know that if you have gone through a child loss and you're listening to this, and I don't care if that's a stillbirth or a 4-year-old or a teenager or even somebody in their 30s like me, losing a child is one of the hardest things you can go through in life. So it's completely normal, like Caitlin said, to have guilt and joy and grief all happening at the same time. Because healing is not a linear process. It's not something that's going to go stage one, stage two.
Hmm.
You're going to have those days it's very, very hard to deal with. You're going to have those days you feel fine, like nothing ever happened. And I
Hmm.
always say celebrate the good days because sometimes they're few and far between, and celebrate when you get those moments. But when you do have that heavy grief day, it's okay to sit there with it. It's okay to be in that place. There's nothing wrong with you.
You're so right. Yeah. And I still get that way. There's days where I wake up and I just feel, wow, I just, there's no rhyme or reason. Grief can hit you at any time, any place, so I still get that. And it's been almost 3 years. So,
Yeah. Well, Caitlin, I just wanted to say thank you for jumping on this mini podcast and giving everybody a glimpse into your chapter and your backstory. You're one of these people I've never forgotten through podcasting, and now 120 episodes later, very, very grateful for our connection, our friendship. And I just want to
yeah.
tell everybody again, when the Empower Grief Journey comes out, I know it's a little bit blurry here, but I want you guys to check the book out. Caitlin's chapter is number 22. It's called Grief and Motherhood, and I definitely recommend you guys check that out. If you do know somebody, by the way, who is going through a child loss, a stillbirth, miscarriage, or they've lost a child, infancy, otherwise, it's a good chapter to read. It's something that can very much help you kind of start navigating that path forward. It's never an easy road. I'll share that. It doesn't get easier over time, but like I said, it's one of those journeys you have to navigate. And a story like Caitlin's can give you the empowerment to find that path forward just one step at a time. Caitlin, before we go, I wanted to ask, where can people connect with you if they want to find you? And can you tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Yeah, thank you. So my podcast again is Grief and Motherhood. So that's just something again that's been heavy on my heart. I'm a mom, and so going through grief. So that's what I named it. But yeah, I love talking with other moms and other lost moms and other lost parents, I should say. Um, on my podcast, just really diving into what grief looks like in motherhood and just all the feelings and emotions that come along with it. So yeah, you can listen to it on pretty much all of the platforms. um, I know my links are going to be in the book, so you can connect with me there. Yeah, so I look forward to everyone listening and reading the book. And Chris, again, thank you. Obviously, none of this would be possible without you. And I know Chris's chapter is awesome too. So,
Well, thank you, Caitlin. I appreciate that. And for you guys watching, you can kind of see it if I can get it in my face. But long story short, when you guys go in the book, you'll see Caitlin's photo on the back, a little bio about her, and you can get to her websites and her QR code,
yeah,
so you guys can connect with her. And this podcast is going to be going up on YouTube as well as my Podbean site here in the next day or two. So please be sure to check out both those sites for more episodes of the Empower Grief Journey. But more importantly, check out Caitlin when you get a chance. Beautiful story and beautiful podcast. Caitlin, thanks so much for being on today, and I'm really glad we got to do this.
yeah. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, guys, I'll be back with another episode of mini podcast with authors from the Empower Grief Journey anthology here in the next week or so. Thank you guys again for tuning in, and we'll be in touch soon.